Welcome to Across Africa, our weekly look at stories from across the continent. I'm Georgia Calvin-Smith, and this week, feelings still run high in Algeria as thousands march again to mark the 2 years since the Hirak rallies that ousted former leader Abdelaziz Bouteflika from power. Demonstrators still want an overhaul of the elitist ruling system. Also, Kenyans give two wheels a spin as more people hop on their bikes to battle it through Nairobi streets and avoid the close quarters of public transport. However, the busy roads present other risks to cyclists. And Kenyan camel breeders cash in on white gold. Demand for their animals' milk is booming, both at home and abroad. It's healthy and a drought-safe bet, as camels keep producing milk even when water is scarce. But first, thousands of people marched through Algeria's capital and other cities throughout the country on Monday to mark the second anniversary of the Hirak anti-government demonstrations that forced President Abdelaziz Bouteflika from power. The rallies lost steam last March because of coronavirus restrictions, but the calls for change continue.
A familiar sight returns to Algeria. Mounting anger as protesters call for a complete makeover of the country's political system, one which is propped up by the military. The message is loud and clear. They want civilian rule.
C'est toujours le régime mafieux c'est toujours le régime mafieux qui en Algérie. Il n'y a rien eu de changement.
It was the same Hirak movement leading Monday's protests, which headed a groundswell of opposition against Abdelaziz Bouteflika in 2019, forcing the president of 20 years to step down on April 2nd that year. Algeria's parliament subsequently announced Upper House Chairman Abdelkader Ben Salah as interim president. But protesters opposed the new appointment, given Ben Salah's close ties to Bouteflika. Hundreds of thousands would continue to demonstrate in the capital, demanding the departure of the ruling elite. This despite fresh elections announced for December 12th. When polls opened, the climate was tense. Ben Salah and 5 other presidential candidates voted. But many boycotted the election, raising concerns of no independent observers. On December 13th, Prime Minister Abdelmadjid Tebboune was declared Algeria's new president. But still, protesters were unmoved. A move by the president to pardon 6,000 prisoners did little to dispel the demonstrations. But in February 2020, external factors put a halt to the surging momentum. Curfews were put in place, clearing protesters off the streets and placing Algeria's workers under huge financial strain. After months of stalemate, President Tebboune, along with the military, held a referendum on changes to the constitution. But even then, the skepticism remained. And despite recently clearing the way for early polls, as well as pardoning dozens of detained pro-democracy activists, Tebboune was unable to prevent another resurgence of anger on Monday, the 2-year anniversary of the first nationwide demonstration.
Now, a Nigerian study shows that over 1 in 5 people in Africa's most populous city may have had COVID-19. Tests of blood samples found that at least 23% of Lagos's 21 million strong population has been infected with the virus at some point. That's much higher than the country's official estimate of around 152,600 infections in total. Hospitals in Lagos have been struggling to keep pace with coronavirus infections. Numbers have been on the rise since December. With more than 21,000 active cases, private companies have been helping to ease some of the pressure on the public healthcare system.
A section of Marika Tajo's apartment has been transformed into a private ward, complete with oxygen canisters. She's recovering from COVID-19 and one of the people in Lagos receiving treatment at home. For her, it's been a source of extra peace of mind.
It was easy for me to ask something about what's happening to me, or at least update. Basically, it helps a lot psychologically because COVID is such a sad illness. Nobody can come to you.
The extra comfort, though, comes with a price tag. Private MD's treatments cost from $260 to over $13,000. The company has, however, set up a scheme to cover some of the fees for patients most in need. The home care service is helping to relieve some of the pressure on Nigerian hospitals, struggling to cope with an influx in coronavirus patients over recent weeks.
Some of us here, we don't even sleep at night because we have calls that we have to go and attend to. Some of us don't leave. We stay in the hospital 2-3 days, some 5 days.
During the first wave of the pandemic, Africa's most populous country was seeing less than 800 cases per day, but 1 month ago that figure rose to more than 2,300. It sparked a nationwide oxygen shortage. The demand in Lagos increased as much as 7-fold compared to autumn last year. Nigeria hasn't started its vaccination campaign, but officials say the first batches will arrive by the end of the month.
Now, coronavirus has led many Kenyans to turn to two wheels. Cycling has generally been seen as uncool and low status, but bike sales have rocketed as more people try to stay away from crowded public transport.
Driving between trucks, buses, cars and motorcycles, Stephen Odiambo could be a bit nervous. The 30-year-old has already had 2 accidents since he started cycling again last year. But reporters are filming him this time, so it's likely other drivers will keep their distances.
The drivers are usually careless. They can push you off the road. They don't care about you. But I just look at the pros and cons. I'm much safer on a bicycle. I'm social distancing.
That's the reason the video editor took up biking again, COVID-19. In the capital's public transportation, it's almost impossible to keep social distancing. Biking seems like the best option to Stephen and many others. Since the epidemic started, business has been good for Jimmy Karumba, who owns a bike shop. His sales rose by 50%.
People wanted to cycle more, just to keep fit, to commute from work from point A to point B.
Now Nairobi cyclists are on a mission. They want lanes, and many have been riding monthly together to push for more safety on the roads. 69 people died cycling here last year. To those who believe building routes costs too much, the truth is the exact opposite. Lanes allow people to get to work fast, which could save some $1 billion lost due to traffic jams every year.
Now, the pandemic has all but decimated Morocco's tourism industry. The Atlas Mountains, once a popular destination, are now almost deserted. Nicolas Chemin has more.
In Morocco's Atlas Mountains, guides on horseback are currently unemployed. For months now, foreign tourists have stopped coming here because of the pandemic. Hotel owners say they have lost more than 2/3 of their customers.
Espérance de pouvoir le plus vite possible voir le tourisme étranger ici dans le pays. Parce que c'est ça qui sauve vraiment la situation.
Group holidays and seminars have been cancelled. This museum opened last year, but it remains empty. Souvenir sellers have nothing to do.
البيع ما كاينش قليل. حتى الزوار اللي غادي يجيو غادي يدخل اللي راه يعرف شنو عندنا في المحلات ما كاينش اللي تيجيو تياخذ فكره عندنا ولا سميتو تيجي هو خصو ياخذ تصويرات ويمشي بحاله ما تيضربوش دور عندنا لهنا المحلات ولا.
But the lack of tourists is benefiting the region's monkeys.
في الفتره ديال الحجر الصحي هنايا القرود والحيوانات اللي كتكون هنايا ما لقاتش السياح اللي غادي يجيو انهم يعطيوهم ياكلوا هذا وهذا فكانوا كيعيشوا واحد الحياه طبيعيه كانوا كيتغداو طبيعي.
Before the pandemic, foreign tourists often gave any old food to the primates. Now these Atlas monkeys, who are an endangered species, are eating more healthily.
While Kenya's camel milk industry is warming up, the dairy product has long been popular with communities in neighbouring Somalia. But people in Nairobi and further afield are increasingly wetting their whistle. The animals are a safe bet as they keep producing the vitamin C-rich milk even after periods of drought. Our team reports.
Behind these bushes, around 20 baby camels are waiting for their mothers. Every morning, the breeders in charge of the herd are getting ready to milk them.
We must produce the calf so that the camel can produce the milk. After she produces the milk, We can remove the calf and we milk it.
Each animal produces 2 to 3 liters of milk a day, sold for about €2 in the shops. It's rich in vitamin C and is easier to digest than cow milk. Production is also easier in dry areas.
Camels can stay up to 20 to 30 days without water. So, and the cattle cannot live without water even a single 2 days.
Kenyan breeders are organized in cooperatives and now send their milk to Nairobi. It is then pasteurized and bottled.
In camel milk particularly, the industry is very informal. There isn't that culture of pasteurizing the milk similar to cow milk. So we see ourselves as trailblazers in the industry, trying to make camel milk standards up to par with other dairy industry players.
Bashir also developed a yogurt line. Diversifying the products is a way to attract more consumers. According to the producers' organization, Kenya should invest massively in camels.
Camel is the future for global world because of the food security. The bulging population in Africa needs food. But right now, the climate has changed everything. The frequent drought has affected the livelihood of these people. Cattle have died. So camels is becoming an answer to withstand the climate change. And most of these communities now are adapting to the camels.
To promote their milk, industrials are focusing on the local market. This restaurant belongs to Bashir's family and now serves camel chinos. One day they hope to take over the international market, where the financial potential is estimated at around €30 million.
Well, that's it for Across Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Take care.